Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? Everybody doing good? Can you hear me? Thumbs up? Okay. All right. So Myra asked me to make a public service announcement for her real quick before we get started. Tomorrow is Litter Day. We have a bus that is departing from the front lobby. Well, not from the front lobby, but from the front of the building, but meet at the front lobby at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning if you would like to go help keep Scotland County beautiful. Something we do every year. We go out, we put on the vests, we get the little grabby things, and we look like inmates on the side of the road picking up trash. It takes about an hour, hour and a half maybe. We'll see. Hopefully the weather holds out for that. I think it might be a little rainy, but don't want to discourage anybody. We need help. We don't have a whole lot of volunteers that have signed up this year, but it's some good exercise. We usually have a lot of fun. Myra goes around taking pictures of us and sends it in. Last year, Myra, didn't we win a prize last year?
We did. We won, second place was $200, and the residents donated the money to the Williamson
Scholarship, okay. So we did win second place last year for picking up the most trash. We were over here at, forgive me, I'm not from Scotland County. We were over there by Food Lion, it's King's Crossing? Yeah. We did that area. We won't have that area this time. We'll have a different section on 401. But we usually have fun. We get out there, we pick up some trash, we make Scotland County look better. And it's just a good afternoon or good morning to get out and you do some walking and get some exercise. So hopefully we'll see you 9 o'clock tomorrow morning at the front lobby. All right, so the reason we are actually here, fire safety. I'd like to welcome y'all to this meeting. I hope you are able to find something of interest out of it. Take some information back to your home or your apartment. I'm looking forward to sharing this information with you as Director of Maintenance, Emergency Management, and Security. Life safety, fire safety is something I deal with each day. You might see me I look like I'm just wandering around the building lost, ready for urban house, but I'm actually doing inspections and looking at the doors, looking at the ceilings, looking at the hallways to make sure they're passable, looking at fire extinguishers to make sure my guys are doing their checks, what they're supposed to be doing. So this is something that's really important to me. The objective today is just to share some information about fire safety and some of the building features, just to make you feel more comfortable when you go to sleep at night, that the building and the staff are taking care of you, fire safety wise. Okay? Some of the items we're going to discuss are the fire system components, the training that the staff does, some life safety inspections we do, how to be prepared, how to be vigilant, and fire is awareness, okay? And slide change, there it is. All right. So some of the fire system components that we have, I think that jumped twice on me, sorry. When I was testing this yesterday, there was a lag between when I hit the button and when the slide jumps up there. All right, there's the one we want. Okay, so some of the fire system components we have the fire alarm panel, which is the brains of the system. It controls the system. It sends the signal. When it receives a signal from a pull station or a smoke head, or there's water flowing through a sprinkler, that signal goes back to the fire panel. The fire panel actually initiates that signal and that call to the monitoring company, which in turn calls the fire department, 911, and the fire department. The whole process takes about a minute and a half. Actually, by code, it shouldn't take more than a minute and a half for that whole process to happen. And luckily, where we are in Laurinburg, the fire department is really close by. So as soon as they get it, they're here in a couple of minutes. It's not like we're in a big city where it's 15, 20 minutes for the fire department to get to us. There are minutes right down the road, so that's a great thing. So the fire alarm panel is really the brains of it, controls the whole system. It sends out signals to see and make sure that the smoke heads, which we have a couple in the room here, there's a couple right up here, that those are still functioning. It actually sends a signal out to make sure they're there. If it doesn't receive a signal back from it, then it notes it as missing, and it comes up as an alert on the panel to let us know that device is not functioning properly. So that fire alarm panel is very important. The next item is smoke detectors. The smoke detectors, as you see, they're throughout the building. They're also in the houses, in the garden apartments. The smoke detectors that are inside your apartment here in the building, inside your home, or inside your garden apartment, don't automatically call the fire department the way I just described that the fire panel does. What it actually does, if there's smoke in your house, there's smoke in your apartment, it sets off an alert at the fire panel that lets us know that that smoke head has gone off and that we can respond to it. So if you have a fire in your house, in your garden apartment, or even here in the building in your apartment, call 911, okay? Only the smoke heads that are in common areas like this, that are in the hallways, in the office areas, those set off the entire building alarm when you hear the alarm go off. Those have set off the entire building alarm. That's what initiates that call to the monitoring company, which in turn calls the fire department, okay? So in your house, if your smoke detector goes off and there is a fire, call 911, okay? All right. Horns and strobes, those are also throughout the building. We can see some, it's kind of hiding there behind that drape a little bit, which really a code violation. Because you should be able to see that. So the horns and strobes are there to also alert us. It's setting off the horn, making all the noise that drives us crazy, and then the strobes going for those that are hearing impaired. You can see the strobe going off and know that there's a fire. All right. The sprinkler heads, you're not going to see any here on this end of the building in independent living. All the sprinkler heads are down in healthcare. So if you've gone down to visit Nurse Kathy in the clinic, from that area down the rest of the building, all through Clubhouse, Lighthouse, Urban House, upstairs in Heather Glen, that end of the building is fully sprinklered. That was a new code that came about 20 years ago. There was 2 very horrible fires in nursing homes that could have been prevented and could have been a lot less damage and saved lives if there had been sprinklers. So there was a major code change, and it was, at first, it was kind of, you need to get this done. Okay, let's get it done. And now it's, if you have a nursing home, you're going to have, or any kind of skilled nursing healthcare, you're going to have sprinklers in it. Okay. So major changes that have come over the past 20, 25 years from a fire, 2 fires that occurred in skilled care nursing homes. All right, let's see. Now we got pull stations. That's what I was talking about before. The pull station, when you pull it, actually you have to push it in first and then pull it. pull it down, that is going to send the signal to that fire panel, the brains of the outfit, and it's going to set off all the horns and strobes. It's also going to automatically send the signal to the monitoring center and then on to the fire department to get the fire department here. You're going to find a pull station at every door that leads out of the building. So we've got 4 of them here. Again, a little bit of a code violation because that one's covered up. This one over here is a little bit covered up too. But all the doors that lead out of the building that you can get safely away from the building if you go out that door. So if you go down to healthcare, we have some courtyards. There's doors that go to those courtyards. There are no pull stations at those doors because those are not doors that are going to get you to safety. They actually put you in more harm's way. Excuse me, harm's way if you go out that door because now you'll be trapped in that area. Okay. So you'll find a pull station at every door that goes out of the building that is a safety egress that allows you to get away from the building. Again, they initiate the fire alarm when you pull them. If you pull it, the fire department is going to show up. Okay. Smoke compartments. So this is a little bit bigger. The smoke compartments are part of the overall fire protection system, but they're not tied back to the fire alarm panel, okay? So the smoke compartments are a design feature within the building that allows us to not have to run out of the building if there's, say there's a fire down in D Wing, we don't have to empty the whole building out and get everybody out of healthcare on a day like today where it's threatening to rain. The smoke compartments are just as they're called, a compartment that is designed with fire doors, ceilings that are fire rated, floors that are fire rated, the walls, everything in that area has a fire rating, and they all come together, they're all sealed, and each in their own way to slow down the spread of fire and smoke. So that allows us to not have to empty out the building every time the fire alarm goes off. I know in grade school, we learned fire alarm, everybody lines up at the door, we all go outside. Even in the military, that's what we did in the barracks. They'd do a fire alarm and we'd line up at the door and everybody would go outside. But here, we don't want to do that. It's a lot of unnecessary movement every time the alarm goes off, to have everybody try and get outside because it's a lot of confusion. So that's why we have you stay where you are, and then we figure out why is the fire alarm going off, how severe is the fire, and then we'll make a decision there. What we can actually do is keep you in the building and move you away from the fire and keep you inside the building. If there's fire, if there's fire in the building, if it's thunder and lightning outside, we won't want to stick everybody outside if we don't have to, and have people unnecessarily trying to go downstairs instead of using the elevators if we don't need to. So the smoke compartments are a great building feature that allows us to shelter in place during storms, during fires, any incidents like that. It's going to slow down the spread of fire and smoke. Okay. So the fire doors, which are, they're an integral part of the smoke compartments, then they come in different ratings. So your doors will be like a 30-minute door, a 60-minute door, a 90-minute door. What that time frame is how long that door's been rated. If there's fire, a hard fire up against that door, how long that door would last before it failed and the fire or smoke was able to penetrate it, go through it, and keep moving through the building. The time frame of the door is also associated with the time frame of the wall. So we have the walls have 1 hour, 2 hour ratings, which, sorry, lost my thought there for just a second. They have ratings also, which has been figured out how long that wall will last if there is a full fire right up against it. I've seen pictures and evidence that fire doors work. I was able to be on a webinar, and they were talking about those nursing home fires that started the codes for, that I was talking about earlier, that started the new codes for the sprinkler systems. They were showing pictures from those fires, and the hallway was completely charred black. You couldn't tell it was a hallway. There was just wires hanging down. The light fixtures were melted. The ceiling was gone. The walls were looking rough. The wallpaper was all just sagging and burnt up. And they showed a picture of the door, and it was just completely black and charred. Then they opened the door and took another picture inside, and the room looked perfect. There was nothing happened in the room. When they stepped inside, closed the door, turned around and took another picture, you could see just around the edges of the door where it was just kind of like a black soot looking, where the fire was just barely coming through the edges of the door and burning a little bit around the casing. So that door survived a fire that completely melted metal and everything else that failed out in the hallway. That door lasted, okay? So all your apartments, all the doors here in the main building have some type of rating to them that's gonna allow them to withstand that fire or smoke. So just sleep a little bit easier at night knowing you've got that door between you and the hallway where there's, the potential for fire. All right. So the last fire system component I want to talk about is you. All right. You are the main component of fire safety. What we do or don't do makes a difference. So it's us being conscious of walking away from the stove. My guys, if they're working with a soldering gun or they're working with the soldering torch out back, working on some copper pipes or something, doing some soldering, thinking about what they're doing, making sure they have somebody standing by with a fire extinguisher. So it's the human element that's always the biggest variable when it comes to fire safety. So, and that's why we're having this today, to just give you all a little bit of knowledge. All right. So what is Scotia Village doing to keep you safe? Besides having all the fire safety components, as soon as somebody is hired on, we do fire safety training during orientation. I conduct that. That's one of my pieces that I do. We do the fire drills. That's when we set off the alarm and drive everybody crazy for about 15 minutes, and you see staff running around and standing in the hallway. So we do the fire drills. So we have to do a fire drill once a month, and each month it has to cover a certain shift. So let's see. Well, we just had an actual event the other day where it went off. We actually had one of the dryers had a lint buildup in it, and the lint started to smolder a little bit. And as soon as the employee down there, one of Melissa's employees, opened the dryer door, the smoke came out, hit the smoke detector that's right there, set off the alarm. Everybody responded. We were able to figure out what it was. We shut down that dryer. We cleared the area. Fire department came, they cleared the scene, and we were good to go. And then we basically shut down the laundry room for about 3 hours and did a very extensive cleaning to make sure it didn't happen again. And now there's also, we had a PM in place, but what we did is we upped the time frame on the PM. It was every 3 months, now it's every 2 months. And there's been some extensive training on from myself and from Melissa on our 2 staffs that are responsible for doing the cleaning. So the system does work. It immediately let us know that there was smoke in the area, and we were able to do that. So that was what happened. I think it was actually April Fool's Day, wasn't it, Alan? Yeah. So it wasn't a joke. It was real. But we do, like as I was saying, we do one each month and on a different shift. So third shift, you never know what happened because we don't set off the alarms and whistles and buzzes and all that stuff. We keep it quiet. We have a sheet that actually everybody know Chad McCall, one of our security gentlemen. He goes around at night with a special sheet and he quizzes the staff on different items and gives them a scenario to see how they would respond, and we grade the third shift that way. All right. Fire extinguisher training, we do actual live fire extinguisher training. We set a small fire in a controlled pan at the back of the building, and all the staff is required to come to that. They actually set off a fire extinguisher and put out the fire. And I think that's just a good way to do it. They get to understand how much the fire extinguisher weighs, how it kind of kicks a little bit when you first fire it, just the steps to use it properly. So all that has gone over with them. The fire department is here and they support our efforts to do that fire extinguisher training. We also do fire safety quizzes. Have crossword puzzle or I call it a seek and find. It's just a word search puzzle. This is just to reinforce their basic knowledge. Everybody in the staff loves them, right, Sarah? Yeah. It's just a fun way to try and reinforce that training. I use the same puzzle all year. I usually get grief and feedback when I'm seeing the same person for the third or fourth time that year. I'm giving them the puzzle and tell them it's the same thing. But if you've ever done training, you know it's repetition. It's the same stuff. Read it, write it, say it, type of thing. So it helps just reinforce the fire safety with them. And I was telling Reverend Bedingfield that there is a test after this, and each one of you will get a fire safety crossword puzzle or word search, whichever you want. It does come with a cheat sheet, so. We also do, with staff, annual training through our Relias program. The Relias, if you don't know what that is, we have several modules, simple little training videos that we go through. They have questions at the end of them that the staff have to take that test and pass it to pass that module. And those are annual. We do them every year. So there's one for fire safety. Nursing has a whole bunch for all their skills they have to do. Maintenance has various ones for confined spaces and emergency management and all that. Okay. All right, so some of the inspections that we do, we have contracted inspections for the sprinkler system, the fire alarms, fire alarm system. They are completed quarterly and annually. We have a company that comes in and does these for us. It's why we don't do it ourselves. There's a liability portion of it, and also just the knowledge base of having a company that's all they do is inspect fire systems, inspect sprinkler systems, is a little bit better than doing it in-house. Some of the in-house inspections that we do are the fire doors. If you see Jeff walking around with a clipboard down in healthcare, that's what he's doing. He does a couple of the inspections for me. He does the fire doors and the exit lights. The fire door inspection that he does, he was actually sent to a 8-hour training course that was put on by the National Fire Protection Agency. So he's been certified. I've had that training myself also, so both of us are certified to inspect the doors. The above the ceiling inspection, what we're doing there is, when I was talking about the smoke compartments, that's what we're checking for, that physical structure to be intact and that there's no holes in the walls where the fire or smoke can get through. If you've ever been above one of these ceilings, there's a lot of pipes, there's a lot of wires, there's a lot going on up there, and all of it has to go from this room out into the hallway. So you have to go through and penetrate those walls. All those penetrations have to be sealed properly. All the sprinkler lines can have nothing touching them, nothing hooked to them. And if you have ever wanted to have a lot of aggravation, hire a wiring company that comes in and runs low voltage cables or any kind of wiring for you, because they just hook it to whatever, they wrap it around stuff. And I think it's their mission in life to drive me crazy and make this grayer. So that's why we go up in the ceilings 4 times a year. We do that quarterly. We look at different sections. So as I was talking about the 2-hour firewalls, they have to be sealed a little bit different than a 1-hour firewall. And a 1-hour firewall is sealed a little bit different than just the normal corridor walls. So we have to go through and inspect those, make sure everything's still sealed up. Where we have the electrical rooms in the building, the electricity, the wiring for that actually goes up through the ceiling, which is the floor of the next, level. So we have to make sure that's sealed properly so that if there's a fire on the first floor, it's not going to easily spread to the second floor. So there's a lot going on and all that. And then again, the daily walkthrough. As my guys walk through the building, they're looking for stuff. Usually throughout the building or throughout the day, I'll walk through independent, and then I'll do some more paperwork, and then I'll walk through healthcare. And I'm not just walking around, but I'm looking for ceiling tiles that aren't fitting properly, because the ceiling tiles are part of that fire safety system. They all have to be seated properly and together, no gaps, no openings. I'm looking at fire doors, especially the fire doors that aren't blocked from closing. You'll see even right out here in the hallway, just past the gift shop, as you enter what's called the D-wing end of the building. Those doors are held open by magnets. When the fire alarm goes off, they automatically close. So I'm making sure there's nothing in the way of those doors so that those doors will close and seal and do their job, okay? So we do have an annual walkthrough with the fire department. They come out, they'll look in all our storage rooms, up and down the hallways, making sure we're not putting too much stuff in the hallways. Every once in a while, they'll say something about it, and we might have to ask somebody to remove some bigger stuff from in front of their door. They tested exit lights and definitely go through all our mechanical rooms. They're looking at the fire extinguishers, make sure we're keeping those inspected. So they come through and they do a pretty thorough inspection on us. Then we have an annual state inspection, and that's to ensure compliance with the regulations and standards that are set by the state and the federal agencies. So as I said before, the National Fire Protection Agency, that is the main group. They're based out of Quincy, Massachusetts, and their regulations and their codes are worldwide now. They used to just be United States, but those codes, fire codes, have been adopted worldwide, and that's what we use, and that's what the state comes in and they inspect us with is NFPA 101 and NFPA 99. Those are the life safety codes. The NFPA 101 is the basic code for all structures, all types of buildings. It's broken up into different sections. Chapters 18 and 19 are for healthcare. The NFPA 99, that's strictly for healthcare organizations. And that covers a lot of different things, from emergency management to make sure we got a good emergency management program, to controlling the oxygen storage, all those medical gases, all that stuff. So a lot going on with inspections.
Greg,
Yes.
on that magnet on the doors, that when they close and the fire alarm thing turns on, when that thing shuts off, the doors can be opened, or do they open by them?
No, they have to manually be opened.
Have to man-
Yeah, so usually somebody will go through, normally whoever's the first person through the doors will open them back
I
up.
was thinking of the ones by Heather Glen.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so threw a lot at you. Any of it stick? Any questions so far about the inspections, the components? Yes, ma'am.
Not a question, Greg, but a couple of years ago, you encouraged us in independent living to have our own small fire extinguisher
Yep.
underneath our sink or something in the kitchen area, because that's where many fires start in people's homes. And I'm wondering if you still encourage that.
Yep, absolutely we do. Yes.
They're inexpensive. You can get them through Amazon real easily, and just a good idea to have one of your
Yes,
own.
yes, it is. It's a very good idea. It's a very good idea. All right. Any other questions or statements? All righty, we'll keep going. Yes.
You may have mentioned this earlier, but I just wanted to, because I think another part of the plan is Greg is on a first name basis with our emergency team in the county, in the city. He knows their names when they come out here. He has a relationship with them, I think, which is a huge component of our safety program here. They know us and he knows them, which I think is a great thing for us and asset to our program.
Thank you, Alan. There it is. All right. So what can you do to keep yourself safe? Be prepared. So how many of you think if you were unable to see, could get out of your house or your apartment if you had to? You think so? Really? Okay. Have you ever tried it? Yeah.
Open the lights, go out
Yeah.
the house.
Make sure somebody's with you when you do that, because Nurse Kathy's going to kill me if everybody shows up with bumps and bruises because they blindfolded themselves and tried to get out of their apartment or house. But it's good to practice that. Just trying to get from the different rooms in your apartment or the different rooms in your house and know where the exit doors are if you have to get out. Fires start small, they get big quickly. When they get big quickly, a lot of the stuff that you see in this room is considered fire retardant. It's fire safe, but that doesn't mean it's still not going to produce smoke. The carpet, everything will produce smoke, and it's going to be a nasty, black, ugly, horrible smoke that it's going to be very hard to see through. So it's good to know how to get out of your house if you're not able to see everything very clearly, okay? Have a portable fire extinguisher in your kitchen, all right? Very inexpensive. As we said, you can get them from Lowe's, Walmart. Sometimes the fire department has programs where they give them out. So good to have, good to have. There's fire extinguishers. I didn't talk about fire extinguishers, but there's fire extinguishers all throughout the building. Within the building, you shouldn't have to go more than 75 feet. to find a fire extinguisher. Out at the houses and the villas, with the new construction, we need to add a couple in that area, but it's basically every other unit, there's a fire extinguisher on outside, normally by the air conditioning. So if you live in the outside, you may want to just look around. I'm looking at the Kimrys and General Willis. There in the garden apartments, there's usually a couple in the corners of each one on the front of the building. So, learn quick tips for extinguishing fires in the kitchen. How to, cover a grease fire. Don't try and throw water on it. Don't try and pick it up and move it. Just leave it where it is and cover it. What else? Let's see. You can use baking soda on a grease fire. So, just learn those quick tips about how to put out small fires before they become big. If you're here in the building right now, do you know how to set off the fire alarm? Pull station? Yeah. Push in, pull down. Okay. There it is. All right. So what else can you do to keep safe? Be vigilant when you are cooking. Stay close by the kitchen. Personal story, I learned this the first time I was boiling some chicken for my wife. She called me, said, hey, this is how you do it. Put it on there, turn it on. She forgot to tell me when it starts to boil, turn it down to a simmer. So we did not have chicken and dumplings that night because all the water boiled out of the pot, burned the chicken. I was outside. Connor, my son, who's now 28, was about 8 at the time. He was inside by himself. He didn't know where I was outside. And my wife pulled up. She left work, pulled up, freaking out. Fire department was right behind her. And I'm just out in the yard, piddling around. And it's like, what's going on? So the chicken did not die a good death. It was all burned up. The pot was a loss. But luckily, the house was okay and everything else. And I got to feel a little stupid for a bit there. I was not allowed to cook for a while. So when you're cooking, stay close by the kitchen. Don't leave anything if you're frying it, grilling it, or broiling it, okay? Because those are the top ways for a fire to start. Wear tight-fitting sleeves or roll up loose sleeves. So if you have a shirt on or some kind of garment that has loose sleeves and you're reaching into a stove, they can hit the element or they can catch the top element in the stove. They can catch the element on the very top of the stove. So just be very mindful of what you're doing. Something I have to watch myself on too. See, I'm the what not to do picture here. Getting something, getting a casserole out of the oven, and you using a towel instead of having nice secure oven mitts. Don't use a towel because the towel can drape down, touch that bottom element, and they catch fire fast. Just saying. Okay, so position barbecue grills at least 10 feet from any siding or deck rails. Keep it away from the house. It's actually a North Carolina fire code that you're not able to grill on like porches with overhangs. You have to be out from underneath the porch. Also stay away from low tree limbs. If you kind of push the grill up under the tree and there's some low hanging limbs, we've all seen the grease from our hot or not our hot dogs, but our hamburgers it can flare up a little bit, and then you can start to catch the tree on fire. So just be mindful of your surroundings when you're cooking. Okay, like this says, yes, I have seen this. Please do not use your stove or your oven for storage. Don't store stuff on it. Don't store flammable stuff in it. I think we supply a pretty good amount of cabinet space and places to put stuff in the apartments. If you need an extra shelf instead of using your oven, call me. Like I said, I have seen this going out doing maintenance work orders that residents have used their oven for storage with papers and all kinds of stuff. So please don't do that. All right. So some of our houses do have fireplaces. Don't leave the fireplaces unattended. Turn them off if you're going to leave the house or leave the room for a long period of time. It's that nice, quaint, cozy scene of taking a nap in front of the fireplace. But you've got a fire that's basically now unattended. It may seem small, but just anything can happen, especially if we have pets in the house. Cats love to chase things and they can knock it into the fire. Dogs with their happy tails can knock stuff over and knock it over near the fire. So just be mindful of that. If you're going to take a nap, you're going to leave the room to go do some paperwork or something in the other room, it might be a good idea to turn the fireplace off. And always remember, no lighted candles. Lit candles are prohibited at Scotia Village. Also, Christmas lights are not allowed around the windows, doors, and door frames in the main building. That's just part of the building codes, the fire safety codes, that we're not allowed to have that. Do not overload outlets and use power strips properly. Okay, I've seen it a lot. Usually you find them at Walmart. They're made over in China where they don't always follow the UL codes, which are some safety codes. It's a laboratory that tests electrical equipment and puts their certification on it, saying it's a good product. You've seen those, they've got like 6 outlets on them, and you can plug it into one of the regular outlets, and you think, great, I can plug more stuff in. Well, that circuit was designed to only have so many things plugged into it, using so much power. If we extend how much stuff we can plug in there, then we're overloading that circuit. Alan, somebody's trying to get in the door and having some trouble. Thank you, sir. We're overloading that circuit, causing the wires to heat up, causing the circuit breaker. If that circuit breaker fails and doesn't pop and doesn't open the circuit, meaning that there's no more electricity, then those wires can keep getting hot. Either the piece of equipment that's plugged in can overheat and catch fire, or the wiring will catch fire and overheat and catch fire in the wall. So we don't want to overload circuits and plug too many things in. The little adapters that I was talking about, those are something I do not promote at all. If you need to plug more things in, say at your desk, you've got a computer and a lamp and some other stuff that you need to plug in, get a power strip, get a good power strip. They come with surge protection in them. One, if there's a power surge, it'll protect your equipment. And then if something goes wrong with your equipment, it'll stop it from causing overheating of the wires and causing a fire, okay? So I'm all for power strips, good, proper power strips, but those square blocks with, 6 or 8 extra outlets that you just plug into a normal outlet, I'm not a fan of those, and I wouldn't endorse those to you because they don't have protection built into them. All right, so just keeping along the theme of what can you do to keep yourself safe. These are some, remember, fire is. So fire is fast, okay? So fires can start small, but they'll spread. They'll spread quickly a lot. And if you have a lot of combustibles, if you've got a lot of paperwork on the counter or other items there, then you're just fueling the fire. So fire can start small and can be a major fire in 30 seconds. Fire is hot. Anybody know that? All right. Well, this is a little bit more than just the actual fire. The actual temperature, air temperature in the room, down at the floor level. That's why, what do they tell you? Get low, because the smoke's rising. Also, the heat's rising, okay? So you want to get low. The temperature at the floor is about 100 degrees during a fire. If you stand up at your eye level, it's going to be 600 degrees, okay? That's why, if you ever heard autopsy report or a report from somebody that what happened to them in a fire, a lot of times it's the smoke inhalation and it's from breathing in that superheated air that gets you before the actual flames do, okay? So stay low, try to avoid standing completely up, and don't breathe in that superheated air because it will scorch your lungs, all right? So fire is dark, all right? Uh-oh. Okay. So little internet glitch. But fire is dark, okay? We think of fire as bright, there's a lot of light, but what happens is that fire is consuming materials. And when it's consuming those materials, it begins to put off that smoke, and that smoke is going to be very heavy and thick and hard to see through. That's going back to what I was saying about practicing getting out of Myra, can I get a little help from you, please? No, I think I got it. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so we've lost the internet. So I'll go to hand puppets. It looks like it's trying to come back for me. As I was saying, fire is dark, so as the fire is consuming the products, the couch, the carpet, the draperies, all that stuff, some of it is fire-rated material, but it's still going to burn. It's just not going to burn as fast. And it will put off a thick black smoke to the point that you won't be able to see very well. So I want to make sure everybody has the ability to find their way out of their apartment or their house if they need to, especially at night with no power. Yeah, the PHI went down on me.
Okay, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
The YouTube's still running and everything, so.
Okay. Just trying to get back on. Apologize, y'all. There it is. Oh, back up one more because I had one more fire is. All right, so fire is deadly. Again, the fumes coming off the materials that are burning, so is forming, the smoke. So there's fumes and there's toxic gases that are in there. So again, with that superheated air, those toxic fumes, that kills more people than the flames do. Okay? All right. So, any questions about fire safety? All right. So we'll go right into the tornado safety.
Greg,
Yes, ma'am.
fire safety,
Yes, ma'am.
are you going to touch on what we are supposed to do, such as close the doors
Yes.
and all that?
Great question. Yes, staff, the staff should come through in the main building. The staff will come through and close the doors to all the rooms, especially in healthcare. The main thing we want you to do is stay put unless you're in the area. If you actually see smoke, you see flames, then we want you to get out of the area. But if you are in your apartment or in a common area and there's no evident fire and smoke in that area, we want you to stay put until we come and tell you otherwise to move. We're just trying to keep the hallways clear. We're trying to keep the traffic going through the fire doors to a minimum. The doors are there and we want them to remain closed as much as possible so that there's no, there's no time that they're going to be open that the fire or smoke could get through them. So mainly we just want you to stay put. If you see the fire or smoke in your apartment or room, of course, we want you to alert everybody. If you are near one of the pull stations, by all means, pull the pull station, push it in and pull it down and alert everybody, get everybody moving to come help. But yeah, the main thing is just to stay put unless you actually see smoke and fire, then we want you to evacuate that area. Okay?
How is this handled when the staff is not as many staff members on duty during the night?
During the night, that's what I was talking about. The great thing about us being so close to the fire station, they get here very quickly. So they'll be responding very quickly. And the staff that we do have here, which will be mainly healthcare staff and security, they're going to respond to the location of the fire. So again, going back to the fire panel being the brains of the whole setup, if this smoke head was the one that was activated, it's going to come up on the fire panel and say, this smoke head, whatever its designation number is, and it'll say in the MMEC, it'll give this location, and staff knows where to go to take care of it. Okay. All right. Any other fire safety questions?
And people that have hearing aids that can't hear fire alarms, does the staff members alert them?
Yes. 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 All right. So tornado safety. It is tornado season. So tornado season runs March through May. And basically they can pop up at any time. The weather could spawn a tornado. Anytime we do have severe thunderstorms that we see in the summertime and the hurricanes we get throughout hurricane season can spawn tornadoes. But this is the National Weather Service is saying this is our window, March through May, that is the greatest time for us just to have a tornado. So the objective is just to learn some valuable information to prepare for, identify a threat, and recover from a tornado. Some of our discussion items will be just some general information about tornadoes. to prepare now, survive during, and be safe after. Okay. So just the general information, tornadoes are violent rotating columns of air that extend from a thunderstorm to the ground. Tornadoes can destroy buildings, flip cars, and create deadly flying objects or debris. We've all seen those cool pictures where they like to take a picture of the 2x4 that's shot through an oak tree, sticking out both sides, or something real small like a toothpick is sticking into a tree, or a metal bar has been forced through a brick wall. So that's they love to take those pictures to remind us just how deadly a tornado can be. But that's what they can do. A tornado can happen at any time, anywhere. They bring intense winds over 200 miles per hour. And of course, by the picture there, we know that the classic shape of a tornado. All right. To continue on the general information, does everybody know the difference between a watch and a warning? Okay. So a watch, tornadoes are possible in that watch area. Conditions are right. The atmosphere is just right and set up just right, with temperature and winds and the conditions that a tornado could form. So that's what they normally call when you see the thunderstorms are coming across, especially in the summertime. Before the storm's even here, they'll put out a tornado watch because they know the conditions in front of the storm and behind the storm are just right for a tornado to form. Okay. Tornado warning is a tornado has actually formed and been spotted. Okay. And that's when, if you wait for the tornado warning to take action, it's too late. It's already here and you don't have time to take action. So that's why they put out the watch. That's when you need to take action and prepare yourself. All right. So code green, if you've been in the building, you've probably heard that announcement. That's our announcement here within the building to let staff know. And it's a combination of using the term code green and then some plain language. So a typical announcement would be code green, a tornado warning has been issued for our area. Immediately implement take cover procedures, okay? So that code green refers back to a policy we have. We have weather policies for tornadoes, hurricanes, severe thunderstorms. We have those policies and they basically give staff the information they need on what they should do. There's some procedures in there and specific tasks for each different department and the staff within those departments on what they're supposed to do when they hear that code green announcement overhead. And again, we also use the plain language so that those in the building, being y'all, the residents, know what's going on instead of you going code green, what's a code green? A code green is a weather event and we're telling you it's a tornado warning or a tornado watch. And we'll give you the specific information for that in the announcement. So the outside units, there are several of us that have the ability to do the call multiplier. That's when you get those fun phone calls from me or Alan giving you information. That is also built into our policy that when we have a weather alert like that, somebody's going to get on that call multiplier and send that out so that you're going to receive that phone call or to your cell phone, whichever one is programmed into the call multiplier. You'll get a call on that letting you know what the weather alert is. All right, so be prepared. All right, prepare now. Know your areas. Boy, that was horrible English, ain't it? Know your area's tornado risk. Are there any English teachers in the group that are going to be grading me? Yes, your red pen is going to be going crazy on this presentation. All right. So basically, know the risk for your area. We are in the southeast. We're going to get heavy thunderstorms. We're going to get hurricanes. With those come tornadoes. Okay? Knock on wood, say an extra prayer. We've never had one right here at Scotia Village. Hope we never have one. But we have to be prepared for it because there is the what if, there is the possibility. Okay? Know the signs of a tornado. Of course, we all know the classic funnel shape. Know, if you're outside and you see the clouds are doing some crazy swirling, you're hearing a loud roar. People, you see them on TV, they always talk about hearing a freight train coming before the tornado gets there with the winds. So just, be mindful of what the weather's doing. Sign up for your community's warning system. There is one, Scotland County has its own warning system here that you can sign up for. I was looking for the information. I didn't have it in time for this presentation. But if I can get that information, again, I'll put it out, some kind of message to y'all. So it's a simple thing. You can sign up where you'll get text message alerts to your phone. And it'll be directly from Scotland County. You can also sign up for local TV weather apps. I put WSOC Channel 9 on here. Again, I live in Richmond County in Rockingham, so we get our weather from Channel 9 out in Charlotte. I've had that on my phone, so whenever there's bad weather, either here in Laurinburg or in Richmond County, that comes up, or just in the general area, it'll come up, for the surrounding counties also. So that's always good to have. Or NOAA, the national organization. I'm going to mess it up. I knew I should have put it down. Yes, that. They provide weather alerts as well that come out. Okay, so sign up for some kind of weather service so you have it on your phone. We always just about all have our phones on us at all times, whether we're in the car, outside. So you want to have that with you, especially if especially summertime, afternoons, the weather can change quickly. You want something that's going to alert you. Pay attention to the weather reports. Meteorologists can predict the weather conditions pretty good. Sometimes we still look at them or throughout the day say, where was this guy? He sure didn't predict this rain. But they're pretty good at predicting, that there might be tornadoes from some approaching weather and plan your day accordingly. Again, going back to the summertime, if you're out and about in the afternoon, just remember that we always have those chance for those afternoon thunderstorms that can be pretty intense, and with it comes the opportunity for tornadoes. So if you've got running around to do, especially in the summertime, you might want to get it done, in the earlier hours or early afternoon, not the late afternoon when the weather's going to hit us. Identify and practice going to a safe shelter. You want to go to a small interior windowless room, get to the lowest level. So if you're here in the main building, if you're on the third floor, you want to try and get down to the first floor. If you can get into the emergency stairwells, those are good places because it's all solid block. They're designed to be a safe haven from the fire, so they're built structurally sound. So that's a good place to go to if you're here in the main building. If you're still in your apartment, go to the bathroom, get in the shower area, get low, bring a blanket with you, cover up with a blanket. So if something does happen to one of your windows and glass is blown in and flying about, you can cover yourself with it, okay? The other part about that, practice going to a safe shelter, just like I was talking about with the fire safety. Know where you're going to go. Think about it ahead of time. Like I said, when they issue that tornado warning, then the tornado's here. Okay, it's here or it's close by, and you don't have time to suddenly think about where am I going to go. You want to have that figured out already, so that as soon as you hear the watch or you hear the warning, you can make sure that you're able to get to where that safe place is for you. All right. Plan for your pet. Okay. You need to include them in your emergency plans. Do you have a kennel or a pet carrier available? Again, don't wait for the warning to be issued to say, okay, come here, Fluffy, and fight with Fluffy to get him or her in the kennel, because they don't like to go in the kennel, because when they go in the kennel, they go to the vet. They don't understand you're trying to save them and get them to a safe spot with you. So you hear that watch, and let me back up about the warning and the watch a little bit. We know that they issue the watch, and it can be a beautiful blue sky, clear day. You know, they issue watches for a 12-hour span. You know, if it is that blue sky and you don't see that bad weather, you know, be mindful that the issue's there, but you don't have to let it completely interrupt your life. That's in our policy. We actually look at that, and it's spelled out that, you know, if it's a 12-hour time frame that they've put the watch out for, that we're not going to make you all go sit in the hallway for 12 hours. You know, if it's perfectly blue sky out. You know, if the sky was looking rough and it's green and the clouds are swirling and they've called a watch, yeah, it's going to be like, let's get to safety. But if it's blue sky, it's going to be like, all right, we're going to monitor the weather. We're going to keep an eye on it. Somebody, usually me, is going to sit at my desk with my two screens going, and I'll have the weather report going, and I'll have the satellite image up, watching that to see where the weather line is. But, you know, if you do have pets and you do have a carrier or a kennel to put them in, you may want to, and it looks really rough out and they've called for watch and it could turn into a warning, then you may want to get Fluffy or Kitty or, you know, your dog in that safe spot ahead of time, so you don't have to try and wrestle with them. And, you know, not all of us have perfect stance and agility anymore, and you don't want to have to be trying to wrestle a 30 or 20 pound dog, you know, that doesn't understand what's going on. So. All right, our last prepare now item is prepare for the long term. Just like hurricanes, tornadoes can disrupt getting food, medications, and other necessities. Plan ahead. How many people have a hurricane box? One.
People came here.
Well, you still might want to have it. Okay, I can say I raised my hand. My wife and I have a hurricane box. We've got flashlights, some battery powered lanterns. We keep all our extra batteries in the house in there. We've got, you know, simple everyday things. We got extra toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorant. We got matches, towels, face towels. You know, it's one of those totes you get from Lowe's or Walmart, and we keep it in a good secure corner of the house. and it just stays there. And every once in a while, we'll pull it out every few months just to check things, or we're always going in it to get batteries or replace the batteries that are in there. We keep some basic medications in there, Band-Aids, all that stuff. We keep that in there. Turn your hurricane box into a tornado box also, okay? The other thing you can do, if you know the weather's really bad and there's the possibility for a tornado, then go ahead and take your medication. If you're like me, you've got one of those medication planners, and then I've got a little extra, all my extra medications, I keep them in a little tote box. So we can take those and we can put them in that box, and then everything's in one location. So God forbid, if something does happen and everything's in disarray, we know where it is. We don't have to try and figure out, oh, our medications were somewhere in this corner of the house. And, you know, our daily medication things were in the kitchen, you know, but now there's a tree in the kitchen, so we can't find those. So just think about that, you know. Think about having a hurricane box, but make it a hurricane and tornado box, because tornadoes can disrupt all that supply chain just as much as I think I said it right. Tornadoes can disrupt the supply chain just as much as a hurricane can. Great place to go to, real easy web address to remember, ready.gov. Okay, you put in ready.gov, it's going to take you to the FEMA website, and from there you can get information on hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, fire safety. A lot of this information came from that ready.gov. Okay. So survive during, immediately go to a safe location. Again, small interior windowless room, the hallway or stairwell in the main building, and head for the lowest floor. Okay, you want to get down low to be safe. Take additional cover. Bring a blanket, bring a jacket with you, a coat, something that you can put over your head and your face to protect your eyes, to protect your head from any flying material and debris that's around you. If you're in a room, maybe, you know, if you're able to kind of pull a chair down so you got that chair between you and any debris. Listen to the weather. Have a weather radio, battery powered is the best bet. Here in the main building, we do have the generator. Generator is going to power the whole building if power goes out. But out in the houses, garden apartments, y'all will be without power. So a little wind up radio. Melissa, one year for Christmas, got all her staff these little emergency radios, cool little things. I think you swung it, didn't you? Yeah, you didn't have to sit there and wind it. You just held onto it like one of those New Year's Eve party noisemakers. It was just like that. You just swung it around, and as you were swinging it, it created the power to power it up, and it basically was just a weather radio, wasn't it?
Weather radio, flashlight, a charger for cell phones.
Yeah. So it was a multi-use.
Solar.
Yeah, it was a multi-use item. So so something like that is always good to have. And then again, like I was saying earlier, use the apps on your phone. Have a weather app from the local TV station, from NOAA, and I'll get you that information for the Scotland County one. All right, if you're outside or in your car, do not try to outrun the tornado, okay? You're not going to do it. Pull over, find safety. If you cannot make it into a building, stay low or get down low in your vehicle. Don't just stay sitting upright. Get get down in the floorboard if you can. If you have a blanket in the car or your jacket with you, again, cover your head. Cover your head with your arms and your hands, and just protect your face. Always stay low as possible. Don't get under an underpass. I know, a lot of the movies, they show people running, getting up underneath the overpass. If you've ever had a carport and there's a slight breeze as it goes through the carport, it like magnifies, it turns into a wind tunnel. That's what happens underneath the overpass. The wind is coming through there, and because of the way the wind comes in, all that fun science stuff, it causes it to be a higher pressure and move faster. And it's got the ability to pull you out from underneath the overpass. So your best bet is just to find a nice ditch and lay down flat in that ditch, okay? That way the winds are going over you and any debris are going over you. All right, so to be safe after, keep listening to the weather. More severe weather could be in the area. Wait for an all clear before you venture out too far. If there's one tornado, there might be another one. Do not enter a damaged building. Wait for clearance to go back into any damaged building. You don't know if there's live wires, gas leak, or anything like that. So before you go back in, make sure it's safe. If you are trapped, try to cover your mouth, whether, with your shirt, if you have a mask, just to keep any debris that are still flying around and avoid breathing in any dust. Try to send a message or a text on your phone, bang on something metal to be heard, or just make noise if you're trapped within a building. Let's see. And just try to be calm, okay? If you're calm, you can think clearer. If you're getting really upset and panicking, then you're not thinking clearly. You're not making rash decisions. So if you can, just try to remain calm, because if you're alert and awake and you're able to panic, then you're alive. So try not to panic, okay? Because you're alive, you're okay. Help will come. And then if you're calm, like I said, you're going to make you're going to make smart decisions, and you'll be able to get yourself to safety. All right. Save your phone calls, okay? In an emergency, especially if there's like a tornado or something major in the area, everybody's going to want to call. Everybody's, you might have loved ones that know you're at Scotia Village. They're going to be trying to call you. People are going to be in the area trying to make phone calls. First responders are being on the phone. Government officials are on the phone. So the cell towers can only handle so many calls at one time, and the circuits are going to get overloaded. So save your phone calls, send text messages, use social media. If there's still, Wi-Fi, you're able to get on internet, get on, if you do Facebook or some other way to get in touch with family, besides actually dialing the phone. What will happen is the first responders, the government officials, there's a special government program that their phones are operating on, that if they need to make a phone call and you were the last person that connected to that cell phone tower, and now their phone's connecting to it, their phone's actually going to bump you off, and your phone's going to get disconnected. And now whoever you were talking to is going to freak out more because you just got cut off in mid-sentence, and they're not going to be able to get you back. Okay, so use text messaging and save your phone call for later when things settle down. because there's a pretty good idea that you're going to get knocked off, or you won't be able to make the call because you're going to hear that crazy tone, and it's going to say all circuits are busy. Okay. Stay clear of fallen power lines or broken utility lines. Power may still be live on them. Okay. Any questions? And I've got those resources up there where I got a lot of this information from, and it's a good place for you to go. The ready.gov, like I said, is a super good resource. They've got information on just about everything there for all weather-related, man-made incidences, everything. If you go to that ready.gov, it's a good place to find information on everything. So, any questions?
Yes, what is the plan here if we have to be evacuated?
If we have to be evacuated, it's a little broader than a quick answer that I can give you. We have memorandums of agreement with other locations, our sister facilities, Glen Air and River Landing. We have memorandums with them for healthcare staff, independent living staff. We would look to help, if you're not able to get there on your own, to reach family members. If we needed to, we would rent every room in town to put you guys up and get you to safety if you're not able to stay in the building anymore. So there's a lot of plans. If we have to make an immediate evacuation, we have agreements with the Presbyterian Church to use their fellowship hall as a place for us to immediately go to, and from there disperse out to more long-term accommodations. We also have an agreement next door with the college to use their auditorium as an immediate place to go to. It's not a long-term, it's a short-term. Get everybody in out of the weather, and from there, get people to safe locations.
High school's always ready for any tornadoes or anything.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
High school is always ready for any kind of disaster.
Yes, yes, that is one of the,
People who are handicapped and stuff there.
yep, that's one of the county shelters is the high school. We would also, as Alan was saying, I am part of the